joy of discovery. I have behind me a pile of flint chips from the production of arrowheads and other stone tools. These probably are middle to late woodland, but many of these were of these flakes like this. These are not the ones we're going to do, but many of the flakes like this, you'll find that edges were pressure flaked and that they could be used for thumb knives. I find these quite often around the campfires or the hearth, as well as microblades, which are common finds, as well as small bird points. So what I want to do with you, though, is I've gathered up a whole pile behind me, and I didn't check these out as I was picking them up. I mean, they're that abundant that on the farm field in one particular area that you just keep picking them up. And so I put them all in a container, brought them home, and thought it would be fun to go through these together to see what tools we might find in there. And so I gathered these on my last visit to the farm field, which was the day before yesterday. And like I said, they're unsorted, so I don't know what we might find or what might be in there. There could be almost anything in there. So I'm going to stop the camera, and I'm going to close in on this pile of flint. I'm going to put it in chips. I'm going to put them on a black background, and then you and I are going to take a look together and hopefully find some things that might be of interest. All right. All right. Here is the chert pile. As I said, flakes of chert and flint. And I do the same thing as I do when I'm out on the farm field. I look for shapes and patterns and things. Like this stands out because it's a pointed shape, arrowhead shape. This, again, though, is just a fragment from tool production. And this one looks as though it was worked by retouching the one edge to sharpen it. Here's a larger flake. Pieces like this, if you notice right here up along the edge, it looks like it's been pressure flaked to make it sharper to use for cutting. This is a fairly large piece for what I find in chert flakes. It has that arrowhead shape, but it's not an arrowhead. That was a discard. Let's see what else we got in here. And again, it's all looking for shapes, and this one would have made an excellent scraper, and I believe that's what it's used for. This edge does show the telltale signs of being pressure flaked to make it a better cutting edge. This I definitely would say was a handheld knife or scraper used like I'm showing you right now, trying to get the shadow off from it. So let's set that one aside, because that is a piece, that is an artifact. This is a large one, probably the largest one I picked up. And this edge is extremely sharp. Now, I believe they would have used it as a scraper, a scraper or a knife, but more than likely a scraper the way this is beveled down. This is just the way this particular piece, when they were breaking it apart to get to the better stuff to make arrowheads with, this is just how it came out. This was not a purposeful design, but it is nonetheless a very sharp device. And we're going to put that over in the pile over here with artifacts. What's this? Alright, just like I said, you never know what you're going to find. This is a very crude arrowhead. Worked both sides, so it's bifacial. I would assume that they probably might have just discarded this piece because it wasn't coming out the right way. But that is definitely an arrowhead. So you guys found an arrowhead with me in this stuff today. This is an interesting piece. It has a notch here, as you can see. Let me do this. It has a notch, and the top edge shows definite pressure flaking. So this was a definite tool. This could have been used like a little draw knife in making arrowhead or arrow shafts. It could have been used in basket making. It could have had many uses. And then the edge up here, which shows the pressure flaking, would have been used for cutting. So far we've found out of this group 5 actual artifacts that a lot of people would just walk over and not pay attention to, because they're not the beautiful arrowheads and things, but they are just as important to the overall story of our prehistory as is a beautiful arrowhead point. All right, I see something right here. I'm going to close in. Can you find the artifact right there in here? Because there is one, and I didn't see this until just today. Right here, that's a nice drill. That's a chert or flint drill that they would use to drill into stone, bone, whatever they needed to make a hole into. So this is a really nice, that's a nice find. Very nice find. We bring this all over here again. Now, this has a notch. Whether or not that was purposely made, I don't know. It's extremely sharp and could have been used, like the one I just showed you, could have been used for the production of arrow shafts. Let's see. When you're sitting on the ground out there, or sitting next to a hole that you're digging in, and looking at these pieces as you pull them out of the ground, it's just kind of mind-boggling. That could have been used as a bird point. I'm not saying that it was. But it comes to the point. It's been flaked here, and it comes down to a stem. That could have been a bird point. We're going to put that over with the artifacts that we have found so far, because it is an artifact. All right, let's look at this piece. This is a drill. Now, there are different kinds of drills. This is called a key drill because it has this broad base that would have been fit into a shaft, and then it would have been put into a bow type device to actually drill an object with it. It is unifacial. It worked on one side, and it was made out of a flake. So that is another artifact that we can put over there. Sometimes it is extremely hard to tell what may have been a bird point and what wasn't, because they're all so small. This one has a little stem, as you can see, hopefully, a little stem there. And it certainly has the right shape. It could have easily been put on a small wooden shaft to use as a spear point for if they were out spearing frogs or you know, small fish, whatever. So that goes over with the artifacts that we found. Now, if I was doing this by myself and really taking my time, I would pick up every one of these and check them for pressure flakes or pressure flaking along the edge. But I'm not going to do that because I think it would get extremely boring for you all after a while. It looks like an arrowhead. It's not. It just happened to come off the core that way or off the piece they were working on. You know, there's any number of little pieces that could be attributed to being a bird point. They didn't require a lot of special work, you know, flakes that were modified. Look at, like this one. It has a notch. It's pointed. So it could easily be attached to a shaft. What would be the greater sin? Just leaving that in the field and never putting it in a collection? Or assuming that all indications are that it's an actual artifact that was used and leaving it on the ground? Anyways, pretty amazing stuff. And I hope you enjoyed taking a look at it. Out of what we just looked through, this pile here, this still to be gone through very carefully. But out of what we looked through, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 artifacts right there. They're not beautiful artifacts, but they don't have to be beautiful, as I said before, to be significant. Well, you probably listened to me prattle on long enough. I enjoyed being with you, and I thank you for stopping by and taking a look at these pieces. I'll talk to you again real soon. God bless. Love you much. Bye.